Up. This is studio session number 2. I got distracted. All right, first things first. It's too motherfucking hot for a candle. So instead we're gonna do this really wonderful incense. We're gonna bless the space with some abundance, some peace, some joy. Okay, I got that working. All right, these are some colors. I'm gonna see if anyone pops in before I get started. Today's project. Oh, hell yeah. Hello, Sunflower Days. Can you tell me who you are? I feel like as this space grows, I want to know who the early people are who come through and who are we? Where did we meet? It helps me deeply. I'm grateful you're in the space for the monochrome meditations. This was, by the way, the first one I ever did, and it brought me peace like I ain't never. That's what I thought. I was like, your little icon looks very familiar. Look what I have here. Y'all, whoever comes into this space, here. I've been using Natalie Sego's art, her ceramic mugs, as part of my studio sessions for water, for painting. They bring me so much joy, and I'm thinking about you always. I know we're gonna find our moment to connect, do the music thing, do all the shit. But thank you for fucking being here. Fuck yeah. Let's fucking go. Oh, how are you doing? How is your spirit is the right question to be asking. And then, again, for everybody who finds this video later, monochrome meditation to me is basically the process of selecting a single pigment, a single color, because pigments, you can have multiple pigments create a color, but literally just creating something from nothing and letting it flow. And so today, once I start the meditation, I will be pretty quiet. But whenever I take a break, then I'll engage if there's people in the chat doing something. In general, the power of this is meant to simply embody a co-creation space every Monday evening. I remember a time in my life when I was losing my mind and I was hurting because I was in a system that didn't make sense to me, working jobs that didn't make sense to me, and every Sunday was like dreading the Monday restart, and I felt like I was endlessly in a loop. And so I want to offer this container for anyone full stop who wants to kick it and make shit, because it's important for our soul. But deeper than that, I want this space to be a safe container where on a Monday evening, you have something to look forward to if you've started your week again and you're struggling and all that shit. So that's what this space is. I want to do a few different things every Monday, and I'll explain that later. But for now, this was number 1. It was Ivory Black from Kuretake. So I'll always say what the paint brand is, what the color is, what the pigment code, and yeah, I have no idea what's coming. I'm just channeling here. So thank you again, Natalie, for being here. Even if it's just fucking us two, that would be lit as fuck. Thank you. Truly, your energy is just wild. And I know you know, because we're here. And that one little meeting, just being next to each other and experiencing each other's art, was definitely enough. And I look forward to some moments in the near future. off the internet, off the interwebs, as it were. Let's see, what are you saying? Seriously, I see them all the time and they just bring me so much joy. I almost said it in Korean, but the Toki, I ended up saying it in Korean. The rabbit one in particular, I am Year of the Rabbit, and it just really, I don't know, something about, we already had this conversation, but the more I look at it, the deeper it gets, and you know, I'm grateful. I love having these vessels from all different ceramicists. They stay with me at my table. How crazy and cool is this? Like, it's so wild. And then I've got like vessels for watercolor paints. My ceramics collection is growing in the best way. And yeah. I look forward to having like a vast collection that I just keep moving through, and I just go by color and feeling, and in this case, whimsy. But let's see. Let's see. Doing well. Let's hear it has. Oh yeah, the anxiety is real. I feel you on that. Focusing on following what that means. Hell yeah, listening to the body. Yes. So even more, I need this just as much. Like, prior to literally this, I was kind of like running a lot of errands and just having a slow day after my work weekend. And but my body's been going through a lot. And so I felt it when I got up today, and I moved through the day, and I was a little nervous about sitting down and having to be here for this, but this totally is making my day. Thank you for being here. And I need it. I need a good meditation moment. So here we are. And I encourage you to enjoy, but if you feel like you want to play and do something, please join in. Everyone should always bring their paints, their pencils, their pens, their clay, whatever they want to do. This is that space, and I hope it just keeps growing little by little. Thank you. Don't feel like you have to yap. Thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, thank you again, Natalie. I'm gonna I've been pulling these little expressions, things. I guess I just pulled today's. Honor the space between no longer and not yet. But I have a bunch of different ones, downloads from source, and I keep them in another friend's little ceramic vessel, 10 of cups. And I love pulling them. I'm gonna keep pulling them. I'm working on an oracle deck right now, and so it's all interconnected, and this is kind of different experimental ways to use it, but today's that I pulled, honor the space between no longer and not yet. It's a quote I've had with me for a very long time by someone named Nancy Levin. To this day, I have no idea who she is. I haven't looked further. Her words were that potent, but I feel called to say that this is definitely where I'm at, and I'm gonna put it on the side here so that we can see it. And I'm gonna do a big shuffle thing, as this just showed. Trust the shuffle. I'm gonna grab some paper. I think the one common theme is that all of these meditations, at least for a while, are gonna embody the floating island in some way. That's kind of where I'm at. It's kind of like, how do I carry the home within everywhere I go? And it keeps showing up as floating in space that is my own. So I'm gonna shuffle these around, and y'all will just have to trust that I'm not looking. But I'm gonna just start spinning them, and I'm gonna grab one at random, and that's the color that we're going to explore together. And let's see. Ooh, who's this? Oh shit! Verditer blue. All of these, by the way, are new colors, so I'm learning all these colors in the first place. But this one is like, I tried a little of it to do like a small series of paintings this past weekend. I love this color so much already. So actually, this is exactly what it needs to be. Everyone else, I will get to you in time. Thank you for being here. We're gonna put them in the pen, in the holding pen. Today's color, y'all, we're working with Verditer Blue by Holbein. It's a Japanese watercolor brand, and it's PB28 and PW6. So it's a blue pigment and a white pigment. It's a little opaque, but I'm excited to see what we can do with it. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. Or first I'm gonna check the chat again. Please do. Yeah, literally, like, I was like, what stopped me from like even doing this little thing was the, you know, like, again, we're endlessly shedding what we think shit has to be like. And I was like, you know what, this is enough. Like a little great quality piece of paper. This is all like spare pieces of watercolor paper. And I have shit to say, like rest. And so I'm into it, and I wish I had started sooner, but these are like little fortune sticks, tarot, oracle energy. And it's a great starting space, but I think everyone should just like things, like any advice we come across, anything that makes us feel good, we should write them down. We should, and then like pull them at random and see what the universe is trying to communicate to us through higher self. Please take this and run with it. And I am so excited for this Oracle deck. It is gonna be my life's work. This deck is, like, people are gonna be able to build their deck in time through all the art. It's like, instead of doing Pokemon cards, I'm doing an Oracle deck of my art. And so there will be thousands and thousands of Oracle cards at some point that people can use, including myself. And also, Natalie, I'll say to you, you're the first one who's hearing this, and then everyone will hear it on this, but I will be holding collective readings with my Oracle deck eventually for the world, for the feminine divine, for, you know, just for myself, for fucking world peace, for everything. So I'm very excited. Big, big things in the future. Have small beginnings right here. We're gonna get started. What else? Also, what? I could talk to you forever, Natalie. We're overdue. I didn't even see everything you said. Let's see. Do a reading. Get your reading in. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and get started, and then we'll go from there. Look at this color. It's like a periwinkle. It's a darker periwinkle. All right, I'm locking in. Again, thank you so much for being here, Natalie. Also, when this is out in the world as a replay, thank you to anyone who is in this container holding space, because everything's quantum, and I like to think whenever people find this later, they're experiencing it still in real time. What a, it's like, what? This is such a beautiful color. I've been looking for a sky blue for a while. And the crazy thing is that the majority of artists that I follow, when people talk about blues and everything, like, it's incredible how safe actually most artists are about their color choices. And it's like we always stick to like fucking cerulean, ultramarine blue, the classics or whatever, and or cyanine, or phthalo blue. And I've tried all of them, and I have some faves in that world, but I just really, they were not doing it. They were not activating my soul. And very recently, last week, I had which actually it runs until the end of September, but there's a watercolor exhibit at Catalyst via the Art Supply Warehouse in Westminster, and I'm really grateful that I have 3 pieces in the show. But so right before the show started, I was like, I can't not. So I went and did like a quick shuffle and went and found some new colors, and I ended up finding this one in the bunch. And I almost didn't get it because I'm trying not to do too many colors that are opaque. But if I had listened to that, I wouldn't have found this magic. This color just lights me up. I love it so much. It's on the road to periwinkle. It's less red, less purple in there. It's more just like a blue, but it's like so soft, and I love the granulation that's occurring, the textural details. I'm so happy I found this color. I have found my sky blue. I'm gonna be using this a lot in the next season of paintings I create this year, or for the rest of this year. I think we're at that point where we get more pigments. Awesome. I appreciate you, Natalie. Again, thank you for being here. Oh, I just got called to that. So that's where we're going. Okay. Okay, Grandmother Willow. Honestly though, there has been a lot of the ancestors have been coming through so deeply. They have been protecting me. They're protecting us. They want us all to experience deep joy on their behalfs. Ooh, that's nice. Let's see if I can get it to travel a little bit. Oops. Sorry if that was super loud. Let's see, we're gonna elevate this a little bit and see if gravity can create some interesting textural things. I think it's time for a little bit of paint, but let me see what I can work with first. I'm still deeply, and I think I'll never stop learning the process of watercolor. I think beginner's mind forever. But one of my more recent developments has been just remembering that subtracting is as beautiful as adding, and that you don't always have to add pigment. You can just pull it out and see what's underneath. And there's often a really beautiful tone underneath that's like very ephemeral, very airy. And then I can always go back on top with more finesse, which you know a bitch will, but right now I gotta kind of wait a little bit for this to dry up anyway, and so I'm looking for interesting spots to lift the pigment and see what I've got going. Like that, that's epic. Like, I'm gonna leave that alone. It looks like bark, and there's some texture, and then there's this outer area that is like a little bit more pigment, kind of like caked on the page, but I'm gonna leave that there, and I'm gonna try and do it here and see what comes up. Not much. It dried down already. We'll lift it and see what emerges. I added a little water. Yeah, it's, you know, and then I don't love exactly what the shape is, and so then you just sort of like edge it along and move pigments around again and rearrange in a way. But now I have more values and I have more pieces to this puzzle that's forming. Like, I didn't know where I was going. And now I have a little bit more of a map. Also, I do want this to be a little bit more three-dimensional, so I'm gonna just add some tonal values behind these trees. That suggests there's like a little more here than just a straight line. Something's going on in the background is the thought. And I think it's also time to get more pigment. I also love using my fingerprint to create texture. Like, what? I remember I had a friend once when I was like coming back into art, and I got so excited about shit, and I was like, look, I'd be using my fingerprint to like make the art. And they're like, oh my god, but what if they like get into your accounts? I was like, get out of here. Like, fuck this fear bullshit. Like, okay, then they get into my accounts. Like, if someone can fucking take my fingerprints from this motherfucking painting and then literally 3D print my finger, like, give that bitch the Nobel Prize and let's move on. And hopefully they use that power for good. It's just always so funny because like I feel in a past life or in first life, that kind of statement and that fear and that question and doubt would have been enough to paralyze me from making art again for like another 5 years. Like I would have been very fragile about it, and then I would have been nervous and been like, oh yeah, but then this and that or this or whatever. And I just remember when I heard it, I was like, I was, by that point I was on the other side of major truth, light, and freedom and sovereignty. And so I was like, I've been there, I get it. And also, don't be shitting on my joy. I'm trying to feel my way to the next step, so let's see. The other thing I absolutely will say, so much of painting is not putting pigments on the paper, it's seeing the pigments on the paper. Giving yourself permission to slow down and really look at what is emerging. Who be texting like crazy? What is going on? That's my fault. I need to put my phone on do not disturb. Also, I'm gonna jam to some music. I'm still figuring out how to get music onto these streams that are not gonna get the videos like blocked. Let's see. Okay. I'm going with a playlist, a new playlist from my favorite music label on earth, Chill Hop Music. So that's what we're doing. If anyone wants to join and listen to the same beats, this is a 2-hour playlist that just dropped with some new music by a bunch of amazing lo-fi artists. Yeah, it's really, this is a beautiful color. Verditer with an R. Verditer blue. Azul verdin. Okay. I'm into it. I imagine at some point I'm gonna hit a color that doesn't make sense to me and I'm gonna be like, what is this? But right now we're in. The other really beautiful and fun creative challenge behind these monochrome meditations is the sort of commitment to using a single color, and what it does is just it makes you slow down just intrinsically, because if I were to just do this real fast, I could, and it would all be one tone, the tone that's in this tube. And so in order for me to stretch and look at the pigment with the water and have it layer, you gotta work slowly, intentionally, and you have to actually go on the hike that is this painting. And so I love doing these, and it's like a deep cut of like a swatch. It's like instead of just doing a single swatch to see and learn a color, this is like kind of like an epic adventure. I'm gonna let this dry for a second. I'm just gonna give it a moment. I'm gonna look and see if there's anything that's calling before I basically take a hairdryer to it, because surprise is I'm gonna be inking this bitch, and I'm very excited. Inking is like one of my favorite things. It's where my roots are. When I first started exploring art, when I was going to be an illustrator back at 16, before I gave it all up, I loved ink, I loved lines, I loved drawing. I was very intimidated by color, and I don't think it's chance that watercolor found me on the other side of my healing. And so I have been loving combining it, and that has been the art these past 2 years, 3 years. Yeah, let's see, we're gonna get a closer look. If it will let me. Come on, let's focus. So this is where we're at. I'm gonna go ahead and dry it. So let's see. Don't mind the sound, y'all. All right. Okay. I think it's dry. Yup. It's on my list at some point. I want to get like an official heat gun because it's like pretty much silent and it's just heat and it can quickly get the canvas ready for its next wash or next stage. But in the meantime, hair dryers do just fine. And now we're gonna focus on some ink. Let's see. Bear with me, y'all, because I'm still trying to figure out angles and shit. Like how I want the art to be documented. Is this better? I think so. I'm still learning how to use this, the base, and like rotating and things like that. Okay.
Something about my process that I have spent decades at this point coming to terms with, accepting, loving on is, you know, like it seems like I'm being quite precise. I used to be very surprised, that came out of nowhere. Precise. But what I'm interested in when I'm inking, it's not like making it perfect and getting, you know, all the right lines and all that bullshit. Like, to me, that's about performance. That's for other humans. Like, even when we think it's for us, it's still about other fucking people, because we're like, and even if it's for us and we love the idea of like inking something perfectly and it brings us joy, there's still an element of control there. And what I like to think I'm doing right now is just roughly capturing the energy of reality. And in life, a lot of things don't make full sense. Like, I'm putting all these lines down and a lot of them don't make perfect sense. I'm sometimes tracing pieces of the texture of the pigments and stuff. Other times I'm just creating another line out of nowhere, doing random shit, and that is life. And I want my art to feel like life, real life. I don't want it to look like real life. Trying to make my art look like real life is what paralyzed me from pursuing art for many, many years. And so now I have a very, very strong opinion on it. And I often tell people that there are no wrong marks, because there really aren't. And it was all illusion.
It's a perfect example of it. I don't care. My only concern is how do I feel while I'm doing it? And I feel phenomenal. Let's see what we got so far. I didn't realize my light was not on full blast. This is a new one for me, these little squiggles. We're all, you know, I always say this, there's always room for more freedom. And so at any time that you sit and you just create art, and if you really do it in a way where you give yourself permission and grace, you'll learn something new, or you will fall into something. And I am known for these, like all the lines we've been like exploring. But this, I don't know, I think that goes hand in hand with like thinking I gotta be finessing every line and whatever the fuck. These are bringing me a lot of joy lately. Like there's not enough of those, and so I'm starting here, so I'm gonna bring it into more of the work. Just like scribbles, literally, who the fuck cares, whatever. How does it feel? That's the only thing that matters. Like, I like it as a textural thing, but I also like that you can kind of make weird little bushes and shit. Excuse me. I'm gassy, y'all. I'm burping and shit. Ooh. I forgot, there's rocks. And also, never be afraid to like turn the canvas however you need it to move. think we're close to done. It's a beautiful color. I had a lot of fun exploring. I think I can start adding some information. Here, let's do this right. Color Verditer blue. Let's see, any final, oh, excuse me. I almost missed my little trademark. I need to give this owl a name, but there's an owl that I love throwing on these trees. And he just chills. Whoever got to the end of this, whoever's here, if they're here, Natalie, if you're still around, I don't know, but if anyone finds this video, throw some names in the comments. Like, name the owl, because the owl's gonna be around a long ass time. I've been drawing it forever on all pieces, and yeah. Once I draw the owl, you know I'm done. You know I'm close to the finish. I'm just gonna take a moment and enjoy what has just happened, the hike that I have gone on. It's a little far. Not enough light. I also feel called to include today's message from Source. let's give her due credit. Nancy Levin, thank you for your words. I forget that I can just do this instead of moving the camera. I'm learning, y'all, I'm learning. I'm telling y'all, it's gonna get finessed. It's not gonna be as janky as we move through time and space. It's all an illusion. But in the meantime, this is what it is, y'all. I'm gonna do this every Monday. Not this type, but every Monday I'm gonna sit here and take up space. I'm gonna let this one breathe. We're gonna pull up a little. And actually I can go ahead and talk about the process of what this will be in the coming weeks and just what the process will be for myself. I wanna do, so basically it's gonna be random shuffle. And I think I'm gonna end each session shuffling for the following week so that at least people understand or know what's coming up. So for example, it may not always be a monochrome meditation. I may not always, you know, this was one. And this was a long time ago. This was almost a year ago maybe. And then life happened. Lots and lots of life. I did a second one, which was, guess what? It was ultramarine blue, the color I referenced earlier that everyone always goes to. And then just by chance, I ended up choosing the color I actually love in terms of blue. Look at that, it's epic. It's like the sky color, but within the element, and the sky is white, and I'm here for all of this. So not only monochrome meditations, but everything that I do, I enjoy numbering because we're building a real-time archive of my art. And so it helps me recognize where I sit with each sort of project. So some other things that are, here, I'm gonna write them down. Well, I'm gonna shuffle these. So, basically whatever projects and playful things I wanna work on, I'm gonna put them all on pieces of scrap. And then whatever I pull out the hat, the proverbial hat, that's what the fuck I'm gonna work on next week. And so I'm excited to share that there's a few things I'll be working on. So we have monochrome meditations. We did that today. So other things that I plan to do. This one is called a POKESHUFFLE. What this one's gonna be is basically, I have a growing collection of little cards in this box. This is my Grumpy Oddish. And I'm going to shuffle a bunch of these Pokemon cards. And then I'm going to, I don't know a lot of these, you know, like my ass is old as all hell. So like, I remember the original Pokemon, I have not kept up in a long ass time. And in the time since I was a little kid, there have been thousands of Pokemon added. So I don't know most of these. And I will take the image and I will do my best to render it in my style. I'll honor the illustrator of the original image. I might take from that image and contextualize it in my own style. But the bigger thing is basically, I'm just gonna pick one and then I'm gonna look at it and be like, okay, let me render this. And based on the limited information of the angle I see the Pokemon or whatever, I will have to make assumptions like this. I don't know, she could have the flowers all over, or she could have, I don't, something hiding on the other side of her, but I won't know that because I don't know these fucking Pokemon. I know Togepi. So yeah, like Sandile. I'm gonna do my best to just render Pokemon, and that's what POKESHUFFLE is, and I'm very excited. I've been wanting to do it for a long time, but you know, fucking life. So we got POKESHUFFLE. Another one I'm calling Pixel to Pigment. Pixel to Pigment is going to be me taking characters, imagery, scenes, monsters, creatures, things from all of my favorite video games. And I'm going to take the pixels of it, and similar to the POKESHUFFLE, I'm going to render and you know, just do my take on some of my favorite things. And that includes everything from Final Fantasy to Pokemon to Super Mario Brothers to Donkey Kong to Planet of Lana. Endless. We'll be here a long time doing these, but so these are all the different categories that I'm showing right now. I have this is what I'm quickly becoming known for, surrealist paleo art. It's what started my return to art making. And so if I pull this, then basically that's what I'll be working on next week. I'll just kind of think about dinosaurs, pick one, and just start going. An example of that is this piece right here, Sauropod Angel. This one's on, what do you call it, Scratchboard. So this one I actually just carved out, which was a lot of fun. So I could end up doing this. It's not always even gonna be watercolor, y'all. Sometimes it's just ink drawings, whatever the fuck. So we got 4 categories. I had a few more. Let me go check let me peep my notes. And I'll probably add to these categories, but because I'm just getting started, I don't want to overwhelm. Oh my God, my favorite one. The one I've been hoping for the most. I have a background in film, and film is such an important part of my human journey. And I can't wait to return to film through Kid Mondu. You're never gonna fucking catch me in these streets doing this propaganda machine Hollywood bullshit ever again. It's so abusive. It's such a pyramid scheme. The industry is so toxic. You will hear me talk about this endlessly. Of course I love movies. Of course I'm gonna go watch movies in theaters, and there's always exceptions to the rule, but generally speaking, there is so much wrong with the industry, and it has been that way forever, and we see the world through that lens mainly. Visuals are so powerful, and I don't think we understand that enough. I don't think we understand the power of an image. When we see images, when we look at the world, when we see people, when we do things, all the judgments we're making, all the sort of micro adjustments within our soul self that come from how we see, how we perceive, all of that in film, in the wrong hands, it's been dangerous, and we have lived with it as if it's normal. So many ideas about love, about how we're supposed to look, about violence, about sex, about, you know, there's so much, and it's so limited. And so anyway, that is a tangent to what this is. I'm gonna take my favorite stills from all my favorite films, and that's what I'm gonna render. So if I pull this one at the end of tonight's session, I already have it planned. I know the image that I've wanted to render forever. It's a flying Thai food boat, like flying ship from the future from Fifth Element. If you know, you know. But I will basically show y'all the still that I'm about to render, and then I'm gonna do it in my style. And there's endless options there as well. Cannot wait. We're gonna be doing this shit every fucking Monday night. If you come across these, join in. It's like R-rated Bob Ross. I got 3 other categories, so I'm gonna think about it for a sec. Let me review my notes again. All right. I think I'm gonna leave it here, y'all. This container will always be like 6 to 9, but I don't have to add everything. We're only getting started. I'm very excited, as you can see. And what was it? Oh, I'll come back to this. So I've got 5 good options here right now. So I'm gonna shuffle these again, and I'm gonna close my eyes. And then we're gonna mix them up. Y'all just gonna have to trust that I have my eyes closed. Okay, moment of truth. What's calling? This one's calling. Pixel to pigment. There we go, y'all. Okay, so I'm gonna be looking at, I'm gonna find some video game shit that I really want to render, and I'm gonna fly with it. It's, you know what? It's probably gonna start with this piece that I've been kind of hiding. This is a character named Quina, who ironically, not ironically, but interestingly, is an early moment in my life when I played Final Fantasy IX. This character is often referred to as him, her, he, she. And it was kind of a very rare first moment where there was kind of basically like this non-binary sort of creature, and yes, they were kind of the butt of a lot of jokes and things, but not really about the gender thing. It was just about that this motherfucker wanted to eat everything, and it's funny, whatever. But I've always loved this random ass character, and he basically came up on my radar recently. I've been replaying Final Fantasy IX on my Switch, and so we're gonna start here. We're gonna render this and go from there, and it's just gonna be an evening of rendering my favorite pixels. I've also been wanting to just like do a watercolor painting of like Super Mario, like 3 in particular. Super Mario Brothers 3 is a core memory in my life, and I've wanted to render many of the level backgrounds, which are very, minimalist, early pixel design, but really incredible, simple design work. So I'm excited. I'm going to consider what it is, and we're going to go from there. But next week, we're going to do Pixel to Pigment. Thank you for being here. It seems like there are 3 humans watching. I don't know who they are because I still haven't figured out if I can see them. But this was tonight's session. Monochrome Meditation number 3. The color is Verditer Blue. Tonight's message from Source: honor the space between no longer and not yet, via Nancy Levin. I'm sending everyone love, peace, and ease. Please take care of yourself this week. Choose grace. And I'll see you next Monday. Peace.